How's it going, everyone? Welcome to yet another episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast, where if you're listening to this and you're like, wait a minute, why does it smell so fresh right now? Why do I feel like I need to put on sunglasses because something very white is in the area? It is because Jordan Shusterman, my co-host for this week, Jake Mintz will not be here, but Jordan Shusterman coming straight out of the dentist office. Jordan, are the rumors true? Are the teeth clean?
They are. I gotta say, Steve, something that is, it's not like it would be one of the first things I tell people about myself because it'd be a little bit strange. But I'm like undefeated at the dentist.
Really?
I have just no cavities ever. I have every time I go to the dentist, they're like, damn, you're just so, this is so easy. Like you're supposed to come here, it's supposed to be a miserable time. No cavities, wisdom teeth are just still in there and just hanging out with no problem. Haven't had to get those out. Like it's truly something about me. I it is the most, hashtag blessed I truly am, is just my dental record. So today was a continuation of that streak.
Now, when you walk into the dentist office, are they like, hey, okay, let's break out the cameras for the textbooks. This is how it's supposed to be done. Is the press there ready to interview you?
No. And listen, it's not like I was like, I brush. I'm a pretty good brusher, but this is more of an orthodontic thing, right? Are you wearing your braces? Are you wearing your retainer? I wasn't that good at that when I was younger, but I don't know. I've just been very fortunate with that. So no, I'm not like used as an example. I'm just fortunate to only go there and not have to do any additional visits. So anyway, that is why we were recording this on Tuesday afternoon instead of Tuesday morning, to explain that little prelude. Jake Mintz not here with us today. But he will return next week. But it's great to see you, Steve. Did you go to the dentist while you were in Starkville, Mississippi? I doubt you had time.
No, I didn't. I was flossing quite often because there's brisket frequenting between my teeth. You said orthodontics, never went to one when I was growing up. I don't know why, because I got the big gap in my teeth. But on the converse side of that, I have a really big head. So I still have my wisdom teeth in too.
Nice. Look at us.
And my thought process, maybe they grow in a little crooked, push the two together. Who knows? Who knows where we'll go?
Oh, wow. Our dental strategies are unmatched.
I'm just upset Jake wasn't here for mouth chat. But yes, this weekend I went to Duty Noble Field, and my God, Jordan, is it incredible? Like the weekend felt like an entire month in 2 minutes. It went by so fast. There was a rain out and a doubleheader. I'm going to be honest with you. It was an incredible time. I got to meet a ton of awesome people. I probably watched maybe 15 pitches because I was just so distracted by everything else. And like everywhere I turned, I was meeting a new friendly person. It can't recommend it enough. Now, were there a few, hey, you're that guy who gave up the home run comments? Yeah, sure. That's fine. There were also more than that, a quantity of free beers that were handed to me. So great place.
Probably more beers than if you had struck out Tanner Allen.
Honestly, I don't think I would have been as well received. Granted, I think I did actually end up helping them a little bit by accident down the line. I did not realize how much free food that was going to get me when I turned 27. Yeah. So, like, you just talk about the games were incredible. They played Auburn, they swept, but all the games were pretty competitive too. Like, none of them were absolute blowouts. I joke about watching 15 pitches. I watched more than that, obviously, but they were really interesting games. And then the second game of the doubleheader was a walk-off by Connor Hysack, who I jokingly tweeted a few weeks ago, Connor huge sack, because he hit a really big home run. And the evening after I tweeted that, he actually texted me and said, dude, people are chanting huge sack while I'm playing baseball now. It's awesome, which incredible thing. I actually, the walk-off was really cool, but I met his dad while I was in the outfield just eating barbecue food. And Connor is a transfer from Virginia Commonwealth University, as many people know. And I actually blew a save and he got a hit off me way back way back in the day. So it's always nice to see someone who I got my toes in the water just a bit still.
So much history there. And, Steve, I think this venue in Starkville is not one I've been to, but I imagine this is one that many people will tell you this is the one you got to go to, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like, we've joked on here before about how when, Binghamton say goes for a midweek series or midweek game to the fancy new ballpark, and you get there and it's like, ooh, let me take my phone out. I gotta put this on my Snapchat that I'm playing with the dude. It seems like that's what you were doing for 72 straight hours.
That's exactly what I did, but I want to be clear, it's my job to do that now. So,
different than when you're on the team that's supposed to play them. That's true.
Even though some people did ask me if I could get some outs for the team, I was not there to actually get outs for the team. So it was an awesome time. I gotta say, I have in our podcast notes, even the rainouts have juice at the dude. And that, of course, even the mishits have juice with the Soldier Tank. We'll get to you in a moment. But I gotta say, the rainout was one of the best days because at Duty Noble, they let you come into the field 3 hours early and stock up your lounge or stock up your lockers. The lounge are areas in the outfield that it's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's about $500 a season. You have access to these boxes, but no one will ever get that for $500. These have been reserved for 37 years. And I'm pretty sure every single one of them, like, I don't know how often people are going to the lawyers down there. I saw a lot of law signs, but I know one thing, people are going to lawyers and making sure that these are included in their will so they're handled properly. So it is insane. But 3 hours before the game, you can come in and essentially load up with as much beer, as much alcohol, anything you want, as much food as you want, and you just load them up in the lounge. And then, you have to leave the stadium, but you can come back in with a cooler. You can still bring a cooler, a 10-inch by 10-inch cooler full of beer. And that is totally fine. That's just like no one even checks your bag, I don't think. Like, you just walk right through. And it was insane. So the day of the rain out, we got there. I got there 3 hours early, of course, so I could watch people filter in because that's really cool. And people had started cooking, getting things firing because it was a 3 hour period. It rains a little, people bring stuff in. That's when I arrive at the field. Then everybody leaves. About an hour later, they can come back in, and that's when they start grilling. So we were about, I think it was like 4:45 for a 5 o'clock game. That's when they kind of announced, okay, doubleheader tomorrow. But people had started grilling food. The drinks had been flowing. And you walk in the outfield, everybody's like, look, we aren't going to let this food go to waste. So I think we were there till 7 p.m., I want to say, just standing in the rain.
And baseball.
And then just complete stranger danger, don't care. I got invited to a fan. His name is Johnny Hayes. I got invited to his house. Kyle Peterson knew who he was. And
that's
other
good.
people
That's a big time vouch.
Other people had mentioned he was a good dude. And I was like, all right, yeah, we'll go there. Another new friend, he goes by Lounge Dog on Twitter. His name is Anderson Callahan Sawyer. Great dude. And I want to share that because he says no one ever calls him by his real name, but he likes being called by it from time to time. So I told him I always would. I'm not doxing anyone. He is fine with it. But he was like, yeah, no, it's a good place. You're safe. Went there, stayed there for a good portion of the evening. And he gave me a bourbon called Pappy Van Winkle. He gave me some shots of that, which I am of the understanding is very fancy. It did not taste like it came from a plastic bottle, like I know. So I was like, okay, well, this might be something that's pretty good. These are good people. Like they were so kind. I got to the house. This is actually another funny side note. I got to the house and it's a bunch of Mississippi State fans. They are from I'm not sure the number of their lounge, but it's called Stark Vegas. So if you're ever watching the broadcast and you see the neon sign in the outfield, that is them. And I walk into the house, ESPNU is on. And I had watched ESPNU the evening before in my hotel, and it was the Ole Miss national championship story. Learned a lot about that team, which was really cool. I walk into this one today. It is ESPNU playing Mississippi State's run to the national title. Stephen Schoch pitched for the Virginia Cavaliers in a game that was played on the screen. So that was actually a very
who's
funny
this
moment.
Clown coming into the
I
game?
was like,
he doesn't look ready to pitch.
I bet you guys I can guess what happens next. I think History Channel had a really cool documentary on right now, but it was really funny. And Johnny Hayes, he's a great dude, and he had all this different memorabilia up on the walls, and he had a lot of College World Series stuff. And so he asked me to sign the Virginia on his College World Series poster. So that was a very cool moment. And it reminded me, hey, Steve, you were something that one time for a little bit. Not in that moment, but other times, yeah, sometimes.
I think that, like, I mean, I know we reference that home run all the time, but like, I have reflected often about, because I think about this in just my experience with college baseball, the college baseball that I watched, at my small D3 school, which I will soon reference in a few minutes. And like how these individual players who like did one thing in one game, like stick with you forever. And most of those people you never see ever again. And you have no idea what they're doing. And you have no idea where they are, what they're doing with their life, whether they're still playing baseball, whether they're not still playing baseball, whether they have 10 children, whether they live in, Slovakia, all these things are on. Whereas for you, it's like you are the opposite. You are everywhere. And so you're giving all these people who think about that moment, that home run, like the opportunity to be like, oh, that guy is him.
Yeah.
This is what he's doing. And that's so funny. And I know we've made this reference before as when we've been in Omaha the last couple of years, but it really is something to behold.
Yeah, no, it was a hilarious moment because there were some people who did not know who I was when I was in that house.
Right.
And that is how they realized, like,
they knew who Tanner Allen was, right?
Yeah, they knew. Right. And honestly, after this weekend, looking around and how many people were there, like the amount of fans Mississippi State baseball has.
Yes.
It was a big fan base. I had no idea how many people I made so happy. I didn't. To be clear, it was not a premeditated make them happy.
No, you were trying to get Tanner Allen out. And
there was a goal, and it was not that, but it worked out pretty well. I met Coach Lamanis. One fan had convinced me to wear jorts to a game. Met Coach Lamanis while I'm wearing these jorts, and I was talking to him, and I was just like, man, talk about a good fan base to do it to, because they really care. Like even like on the rain delay game, it was still packed. Like people still want to be like at the field. Like it is
around. How could you not? Right.
And with the facilities they have, another thing that I learned while doing a tour with the principal architect and associate athletic director, the associate AD was David. Oh my God. Derek Kilpstein. I was so focused on the last name, I messed up.
It's okay.
Derek Kilpstein and Jamie Weir, one of the principal architects, and they were walking me through it, and they were talking about how at the lofts in left field, like there's corporate events, like the areas at this stadium are like the place in town where like you're having weddings, people are getting engaged up there, like people are having wedding receptions, parties, all sorts of different things, and like it really is the spot in Starkville to do it, which I think is just so cool and a huge contributor to like the overall culture they have at the yard.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I will say too, Steve, so am I correct that there was a Brent Rooker giveaway?
Yeah.
I'll explain why I'm bringing this up. Can you give me some background on that?
Yeah, so on, I believe it was Sunday, the first 200 fans got a Brent Rooker poster. And I was like, okay, that's actually cool because like that's one of the Twitter guys, like he plays baseball, he's good at baseball, but I recognize him from Twitter. Like I don't pay attention to baseball, and I know that because I follow him on Twitter, And so I was walking and I was like, there was this nice older gentleman and he was walking around. And he was like, hey, they have posters over there. I'm going to go grab one. And he goes and grabs one. Like, he was just narrating, like, straight up, like, we hadn't conversed. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, good call, man. I mean, like, cool poster, Brent Rooker, cool guy. And then he just walked back and he was like, here you go. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll take one. He had two. And I was like, all right, thank you very much, sir. Didn't intend for this, didn't want to take away from someone else, but if it's bestowed upon me by what I
you're not going to
assume
say
is,
no.
just poster Stana.
The reason I bring it up is because I was in Cleveland over the weekend where the A's were. And while I was introducing myself to Zach Geloff, Brent Rooker, his teammate, was like, because I'm talking about you, Steve, my dear friend Steve. I was like, hey, yeah, I have the pleasure of doing a podcast with your old pal Steve. And then Brent Rooker, right behind him, who I was talking to earlier, he's like, yeah, Steve's in Starkville right now. I was like, that's right, he sure is.
Well, hell yeah.
So I just wanted to give you that, even if he didn't retweet it or anything, he definitely was aware that you were in the building.
I figure, he's got work going on.
If
I got tweeted
he was busy hitting home runs in the major leagues.
Yeah. So, it's a little bit busier than a tweet from Steve. But I joked to my wife, I was like, I'm willing to bet this guy has just no idea who I am. And I'm going to somehow get this poster to Zach Geloff. And I'm going to be like, hey, Zach, not to be weird, but for a bit. That was my initial plan. So maybe I think I'll play the long game.
There's a chance.
I'll play the long game. There's got to be a way. The world of baseball is a small world. So maybe I just carry it in my pocket for the rest of time. In case I run into him. Or maybe I equip you. Just kidding. You guys are professionals. I'm not.
Yeah. Sorry, we can't. We're not trying to ruin our, journalistic integrity.
Can you get me a ball? Can you give me a ball?
Anyway, so I just wanted to pass that along because I figured you would appreciate that. But anyway, it sounds like it was awesome. And Mississippi State, of course, having a pretty good season, right? And also, after losing a series at Ole Miss, or to Ole Miss for the first time in nearly 10 years, really great way to bounce back. They, of course, still have long road ahead of them, but they are looking like a, and I guess this is a good note to kind of end on here, Steve. If anything, it is a reminder and a hope that they can have a strong enough finish that they can be hosting. I think right now they are not, I don't think they're quite in that discussion yet, but when you're a team like them, like they're at 45 in the RPI and they got a lot of work to do. But if you can win a couple of these big SEC series coming up, win some games at Hoover, it's there for them. It's totally possible. So we'll see how that goes, because it would be awesome to see postseason games there again.
I really feel like sorry, that was the second grade in me. I feel like this is the week where it's a lot of make or break stuff. Like, whether you're on the bubble of that hosting discussion or not, whether you're on the bubble of making the field of 64, I feel like we're going to learn a lot about teams this week. But let me tell you, after visiting Dudy Noble, I have no favoritism towards anyone except people I played with and the guys I like, of course. But I want them to host because that place is just so cool. Like, the environment alone, it's got to be anarchy when the games mean the most.
Mm-hmm. It's man. So we'll see. Long way to go. At the very least, hopefully we will see them in the postseason again. I mentioned I was in Cleveland. I attended a game at Oberlin College, Steve, and I'm not going to go into too details, but the gist of it is that I went to see a D3 game at Oberlin. They were playing the number 3 D3 team in the country, Baldwin-Wallace. They pulled off the upset, and the highlight was the end of the game. I know we've had a few moments of this in D1 this year because of the portal. You have a lot of situations where you got players playing against their old friends, right? And that was exactly the case here, where now this was not a case where the kid left Oberlin because like he didn't like it there or whatever. Like, this was like, it's harder to play 5 or 6 years at a small liberal arts school as it is at larger universities. So he transferred after his 5 years at Oberlin to Baldwin-Wallace. And this kid, Max Anastasio, made the last out. But the pitcher on the mound, I just need to shout out this pitcher on the mound. I wish I had like full video of this. Again, this is like, obviously this isn't televised. His name, senior right-hander named Luigi Samaro. Okay. And when they announced it on the speaker, I thought his name was Luigi Sabaro, and I was like, "This is like a character. I can't believe it's real." Luigi
An
Samaro.
Italian cartoon comes out to the mound,
right? But Luigi Samaro, senior righty for Oberlin, was talking so much on the mound, like too clearly, like actively laughing as he's trying to like lock down this save against one of the best teams in the country. It wasn't even like smack talk. It was like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was so funny. And it was just like that. And I talked to the coaches after, it's like, yeah, it's just Luigi, man. He's just trying to stay loose. I'm like, hell yeah, I love this.
just a bubbly guy.
It's like it was like a different category of like the closer mentalities that we sort of seen with you or some of the other pitchers that we've seen. Like it was just so funny. So shouts out to Luigi. I hope he's enjoying his senior season, and shouts out to Oberlin for pulling off the upset.
I mean, the way I think about it is, you see a guy in a fight, you have him coming at you the way I would go about my business, where I'm a little all over the place, a little erratic, maybe hitting myself. That's one thing.
Maybe
another guy coming at you. You got Luigi coming at you with nothing but triangles of pizza in his pockets, chuckling away. Call the cops. I need some backup. You know, I think about it often. If I wanted the toughest military, I would want a funny military, because, like, you know, dark humor is important, but the guys chuckling away, those soldiers get the job done. Speaking of soldiers that get the job done, Jordan, have you heard of the 2025 Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat?
I have. Thanks to you.
This isn't. Well, I'm going to tell you about it again.
Tell me more.
This isn't just any bat. It's lighter and hotter than any of its predecessors. And this is thanks to its infused power alloy technology that creates an ultra big, ultra hot sweet spot. Crafted from over 2.5 years of research and development, the Soldier Tank is the perfect blend of speed and power. It's designed for both power and contact hitters. It features a formula for success: speed times mass times impact equals extreme power. I've seen it swung. Even the mishits have juice with the Soldier Tank. The bat is priced at an incredible $311. Which is well worth it to swing the top scoring BB Core bat ever. They are selling out fast, though, so head over to soldiersports.us to secure yours today. Now, I do want to say one thing. When it says lighter and hotter than any of its predecessors, the word predecessor makes me think of dinosaurs. I don't know why. But every time I do that ad read, just know as soon as I say the word predecessors, I'm immediately thinking of Jurassic World. And that's where my head is the rest of the ad read, because I'm just thinking, man, in Jurassic World, everything would have been saved because, hey, a dinosaur sees this thingy because they can see color, and they go, the mishits with that thing have juice. I'm going to go back in the cage.
I am looking at the Soldier Sports website right now, and you will have a good time looking at this website. I'm just saying there's a lot going on here that I am now even more intrigued by. But as we know, most importantly, Steve, even the mishits. Think about it this way. If the mishits have juice, think about what happens when you square it up.
I just think about the fact that I could suck and be good with the Soldier Tank. That's really like you take it, transitive property of that math equation, speed times mass times impact equals extreme power. If you're okay just sacrificing the speed and just going mass times impact, because the speed is the variable you control. So mass times impact in theory equals extreme power over speed. So depending on speed input, so you get a pitcher throwing really slow, mass times impact is going to equal, you know, that's how the quotient goes up, because the numerator goes down. But that's just math. I don't know.
No more math.
Any of that tracks.
We blew past the stop sign, as Mike Rooney would say. No more ad read. Thank you to Soldier Sports. Steve, let's get to our moments of the week. Start us off.
Okay, so this week's actually important because I did plan one segue that I think I might nail. So I got to start off. First moment. The segue is not yet, but stay tuned.
Okay, it's coming. All right, thank you.
It's gonna hit.
I am. All right, yeah. I'll let you lead the way here. I don't want to step on any segues here.
All right. So first of all, we had Gage Jump pitching for LSU, just absolutely shoving against Missouri. He went 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, only surrendering 1 run while striking out 14 batters. But Jordan, I want to ask you because, as you guys know, Jordan, you are more well-versed in MLB. You and Jake as well. I am more well-versed in pop culture and references, I would say, because, that's just kind of how we live our lives. Do you see the tweet from LSU baseball that says up to something?
Here that you have in the document. Up to something.
Yes,
I do.
Okay, now do you understand the joke for that one? Because I think this is a funny joke, but I also think this is a good way because I feel like it went over a lot of people's heads.
I mean, seems like a pretty generic statement, so maybe I will understand the reference, but tell me.
Okay, I think it's referencing the Drake song Jumpman, where it's Jumpman, Jumpman, that man up to something. Or I don't really know the words.
I do know that song. That seems like a pretty likely situation. And guess what? Even if it's not, boy, does that work out well.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I saw it in my brain. Everybody knows my brain operates in stupid ways. If you make me laugh, that's the one way I remember stuff. That's why anatomy class I could always remember, math class not so much. But this, I am always going to think about Jumpman when Gage Jump is pitching and think about how he is up to something on the mound. Like that is going to become a mental tick for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Gage Jump, I mean, boy, do they need that kind of performance. This is something we've been waiting on. All these transfers, LSU still in kind of a dangerous place, but Gage Jump is very, very, very talented. I remember him and Hagen Smith were the same high school year, and both those lefties I remember being very excited about what they were going to do in college baseball. And now I know Gage Jump isn't on the Hagen Smith level, but he's doing cool stuff in the SEC too.
Absolutely. And I feel like, LSU is not off to the greatest start, and everybody loves to bring up, oh, well, we know what happens. That's why you don't win. And, that's personally, I was thinking about the next generation. I wanted to look out for them. That's why I didn't win. But I don't think LSU is completely toast just yet. Like, I think they're still kind of right. I wouldn't say they're in a great position right now, but they are in a great position to sneak up on someone because you can't sneak up on someone from right in front of them. So I really like where LSU's at. And I think I just want to be on the record saying, keep an eye out. Tigers being behind you, not a good thing. You want the Tiger in front of you. You can watch it. You can know what's going on. But I feel like LSU, if things get quiet around there and it's like, hey, what's going on here? They're going to bring something crazy out.
The thing with LSU to watch, so they got Auburn at home this weekend. Like, we got to take care of business there respectfully. But they are, of course, right now still have the second worst record in the SEC, which would mean they would miss Hoover. Their last series of the year is against Ole Miss, and that could be a team that they're fighting to make it into Hoover. Now, again, maybe that makes it more comfortable by them. But anyway, that's LSU. What's next, Steve?
Yeah, so next up we have Lyle Miller Green, of course, the Austin Peay governor, who on Sunday went 6 for 6, and he is only the third governor in history to go 6 for 6. It was against Florida Gulf Coast University. I believe he had 1 double and 5 singles, which, efficient way to do it. It's really quick. He's not making it about himself. He's like, hey, look, I'm going to get on first base. We're going to get back to business. He also pitched on the weekend. I believe he did all right, but he transferred in from Oklahoma State, went from Cowboy to governor. Just a real glow up. Now, Jordan, you had something on Lyle Miller Green as well?
Yes, we've talked about Lyle Miller Green on this podcast before. First of all, Austin Peay, his 4th school. Now, Lyle Miller Green, who is from so I remember being like, oh, Lyle, he's from the DC area. We're from we know these. He played at Lake Braddock, I believe, in high school. So okay, great. Then I remember looking at his bio and seeing that he was born in Tomsk, Siberia.
No, yeah, why not?
Which it's possible. It says the son of Richard Green, Stephanie Miller. Perhaps they gave birth to Lyle Miller Green in Tomsk, Siberia. Perhaps this is an adoption situation. Regardless, you don't see Tomsk as a common birthplace for college baseball players, let alone ones who are going to like be pushing for the national home run lead. I mean, this guy had 16 homers last year with Austin Peay. He's got 20 this season. He's been one of the best overall hitters in D1 baseball at his fourth school, who had started George Mason, went to Chipola, went to Oklahoma State, and is now a governor, as you said. So shouts out to Lyle Miller Green and your Siberian roots, my dear friend.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe that 3 other governors had gone 6 for 6. So I did some research. I was trying to find more stats about the program. And honestly, all I could find was stats and numbers about different governors throughout
actual
history.
governors.
Okay. Yeah. So
what'd you find?
I wanted to ask Jordan just a quick history quiz. Do you know the only person who was a governor in multiple states in their lifetime?
I don't. I mean, maybe I've heard of this person, but I certainly couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Well, I couldn't either until I looked it up. But I actually am ashamed of myself because I have a lot of friends who probably could have told me. Because Sam Houston was the governor of Tennessee and the governor of Texas. And eat 'em up, cats. The Bearcats swept MTSU this weekend in true Sam Houston fashion. Sam Houston was first the governor in Tennessee, moves to Texas, has a okay. Now I'm not really certain what he was a big independent party person, I believe. I don't really know.
Don't worry about the party. You're just telling me
either way,
still an amazing
moves to Texas, and he really likes Texas. I think he likes it more than Tennessee because he decides to live out his days there. So this kind of feels like, this feels like a situation where a kid transfers to a school, he's playing their old school, and he just shoves. And I also want to bring up Walker Yannick is currently on a 23-game hit streak, which is a third in all-time hit streak records at Sam Houston. So, I mean, always
Steve,
love it.
And not only, maybe you realize this too, also Austin Peay in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee to Texas, just like Sam Houston. Unbelievable. You're so right. You know what? This segue actually was even better than I thought.
It was better than I thought too. Have you ever played poker and you put the cards down and someone's like, "Oh, your hand is incredible," and you're like, "Oh, I just had colors. I didn't really realize that." That's kind of what I was doing when I realized that it was Middle Tennessee State University. I hadn't put that together until I was halfway through and excited. So honestly, the fact that I didn't stumble through, clip that. That one will be going out.
Here's another thing. Austin Peay, the governor, former governor, Austin Peay, only one state.
Only
state. Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make it to Texas like Sam Houston.
Yeah, he didn't hit the governor transfer portal, unfortunately.
Hey, that's an amazing transition. Walker Yannick, one of my favorite players in college baseball. He's awesome, and it's so cool to see him balling out. And this point has been made, but it's like everyone was probably being like, "Hey, Walker, listen, come play at our fancy school. We'd love to have you." Walker's like, No, I'm sorry. Is your school named after somebody who is a governor of 2 different states? No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh,
okay. Well, then I'm not going anywhere.
What is this? A mono governor? Or that's the word. But moving along, talking about people who do multiple things, I got to talk about UC Irvine's Friday night guy, Nick Pinto.
Yes.
So he is from the UC Irvine area. He's currently a graduate student, the Friday guy, but he also just does the team's laundry in a world of NIL.
Fun.
And like he genuinely just does it. And I genuinely think it is just like, hey, I want to give back to my teammates. And this little clip we have of him from, I believe, Sports Central LA on Twitter, they share it. And he's like, yeah, if they're going to make diving plays for me, I'll at least clean the stains out. Which, talk about a great quote. If I, as a sophomore, had a 3.43 ERA and 86.2 innings pitched while striking out 79 batters. I think I would hang up the laundry detergent, be like, hey, you know what? Someone else maybe can do this. But for him, that makes me so happy. And it really makes me think about the parity in college baseball, the difference of things, where this weekend at Mississippi State, I met all 15 of their managers. Now, UC Irvine, this dude's cleaning his team's clothes. I don't know what their manager situation is like, or
it's a great question.
Why this
victory
is going on.
laundry? Why is he doing his own victory laundry?
It's honestly, it's doing it yourself. Talk about,
this is, but also this is why this is so great, Steve. Nick Pinto, for those who don't know, you mentioned he's a Friday night guy, so that already tells you something. I think Mike Rooney has casually mentioned this about Nick Pinto, and I don't know if it's actually verified, but it's possible that this is true, which is that Nick Pinto has made more starts than any active college D1 pitcher. He's now made 56 starts in Division I baseball, which is ridiculous. And that's why it's so funny. It's this dude is doing, this isn't like some, bench infielder who's like, you know what, I want to bring even more to the table besides my defensive, replacement or pinch running. I'm going to do the laundry. He's the guy throwing the most innings on the program for 4 years running, and he's doing the laundry.
And it's look, you're spot on. The team's good, man. But I really do like his bio too, because I want to give a shout out on his bio, because I feel like he meant to give funny answers, and I always tried to give funny answers, but never got love.
Oh yeah.
He has in his personal fan of Bryce Harper, Aaron Nola, Margot Robbie, and all Philadelphia's sports teams. Also a fan of watching his favorite TV show, Better Call Saul. And then I like the second line, just kind of gets weird. Enjoys watching football, cheeseburgers and fries, the movies Django Unchained, Get Smart, and Caddyshack, anteaters, apples, and would love to visit Iceland. So I feel like that one's just I feel like there are multiple questions, and it just got blurred together. I like that he just went with it.
I totally agree, because it seems like most of his answers here are what he likes to watch. Football, some movies, right?
Cheeseburgers.
But then he likes to also watch cheeseburgers and fries.
Which I'm right there with you.
Yeah. He enjoys, and he enjoys anteaters. He enjoys watching anteaters.
Yeah,
I assume he doesn't enjoy eating anteaters like he enjoys eating cheeseburgers and fries, right? There's no way. So anyway, I totally agree. This seems like either he was just being a goofy goober, or just some strange transcription here, I would say.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I would love to know if these, because his freshman fall was 2019. So I'm wondering if these still reign true, if his hobbies have changed. We'll have to find out. But doing the laundry has remained constant. And that's what's important.
Keep it going, Nick Pinto. Keep that mustache strong as well. Cheers to you, Nick Pinto. All right, who's next?
Now, next up, Jordan, I have something in the document that just says Jackson Mayo. Now, if you click that, can you describe to us what the tweet is?
This was actually on my radar, Steve.
Okay, good.
Jackson Mayo is a picture of two separate baseball players standing next to each other, one for Rice University, one for University of South Florida, and they are both named Jackson Mayo, and they played against each other this weekend. And as you pointed out, massive missed opportunity for Hellman's just fumbling the Jackson Mayo bag here. Yes, I knew about this because I want to say Jackson Mayo, the outfielder. Are they both outfielders? I know the one on
the Rice one is a left-handed pitcher.
Okay, so the Rice one is a pitcher. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I believe I've been familiar with the outfielder for a while. And I back to high school, and I was doing some search at some point, in the preseason, and suddenly I saw that his stats were getting blurred with the other Jackson Mayo or something. But to the point where I was like, wait a minute, did Jackson Mayo transfer to Rice? is he pitching now? Like, I was really confused. So it's nice to know that they're two different people, and it's nice to know that they got a picture.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Rice Baseball Jackson Mayo for making sure to keep me posted on that and the fact that he was going to get a picture and send it to me. So Jackson Mayo and Jackson Mayo, you guys rock.
Can I blow your mind here for a second? Just because
according
to Baseball Reference, there's actually a third Jackson Mayo. Again, we're not talking about like Bill Smith.
Yeah, okay. No, we are talking Jackson Mayonnaise.
Hold on. I actually think there's 4 Jackson Mayos. Okay, here we go. So I found 2 more Jackson Mayos. We've got a basketball player that plays for Army, or at least has played for Army recently. Okay, so that's one. And then another one, Jackson Mayo, who played for Division 3, a pitcher who played for Division 3 Stevenson University, which you might have heard of in Maryland. So, I mean, apparently Jackson Mayo is like a totally regular. Apparently, if your last name is Mayo, you might be predisposed to name your kid Jackson.
Yeah, I don't know. They go hand in hand, but Dukes, where are you? You missed it. I believe they liked the tweet, but throw the kids some coin for having a funny name. You know,
but these guys are both still like, I think the pitcher is a freshman or maybe a JUCO transfer.
I think he's in from McLennan Junior College, which is a very, very good junior college. Yeah. I may or may not have had a fake ID of who went there back in my day.
May not.
Yeah, for Jackson Mayo.
Mayo, thank you. Okay. Yes. No more may I. May I move on from this topic?
Yeah. Thank you. Good. Very good. We will less Mayo, more, because here we go. I'm going to just keep tormenting you. Christian Moore now leading, though. He is now the career home run leader for Tennessee, which is really cool. He has 46 home runs. He hit 3 of them on Sunday, 4 in total on the week. But I got to say, if you are pitching to this guy, why? Why are you doing that? You know, because this kid has absolutely been mashing. Blake Burke is now, we said he stands alone when he hit his 41st to stand alone at top. But then Blake Burke was passed by his second baseman, Christian Moore. And I'm excited for them to keep going back and forth. But also Blake Burke is currently on a 30-game hitting streak, which is a UT record. I, of course, am wondering, because in the locker room, I'm sure they talk about it. It's like, hey, man, I lead now. And I'm sure they go back and forth. But all I can think about is the one way we'll know who wants it more is who's going to forego the draft and just say, you know what, I'll come back. I really want to solidify
a number that nobody will ever reach.
Yeah. It's like, look, no one else is going to do it. Like, who else would turn down big league money and
funny.
Become a senior side? Even though all the talent in the world, I think they'll both get drafted and be okay without.
I think they will both be drafted.
I think they're in a good spot.
Yes. So Tennessee coming off a huge series win at Kentucky. They've got Mizzou at home, at Florida, at Vandy, and then South Carolina at home. So, I mean, it is going to be, and then not to mention, you know, if this is a team that could potentially go to Omaha, like imagine this home run race going all the way to Omaha.
It would be insane.
And one of them, you know, getting the lead or the winning homer in Omaha, that'd be awesome. So
yeah, because really I mean,
so good for them.
You can't really set career records without going to Omaha or having a deep postseason run. I feel like it's way harder, you know, because you get so many more games that really come in.
Or at least the postseason, you need those games. That's totally true. All right, we got 2 more, Steve.
We got 2 more. Another one was Brody Breck did exactly what everybody has been expecting him to do this season. He threw 7 scoreless innings. But what's important to note is he's been toying around with a different sort of breaking ball where it's a little bit bigger. It's a sweeper, which is supposed to be a bigger, slower sort of sweeping motion pitch. He's throwing at 88 miles an hour, a speed that would have my Ford Taurus ready to take flight. Is how hard this guy's throwing his big, slow slider. see, people sometimes will ask me like, "Oh, did you ever consider trying to continue playing the game?" When you got guys like Brody Brecht throwing Ford Taurus speeds right behind you, it's like, hey, you know what? No, because that is insane. Like we got guys taking the human body and doing stuff it wasn't designed to do, and it's so much fun to watch. Like it's just so cool.
Great to see Brody again. You know, I was hoping to see this version of Brecht at Ohio State last week. He gets scratched. He pitches on Sundays, whatever. I mean, this is probably the best start of his season, and boy, did they need it. Iowa sweeps Rutgers. They have at Nebraska. This is it right here, man. This is the whole season this weekend in Lincoln. So I would love to see Brody Brecht do it again this weekend.
I'm right there with you. Now, to close it out in our moment section of this, we, of course, have to talk about Jack Caglione because he hit 9 home runs in 9 straight games, or has hit a home run in 9 straight games, which is
9 homers in 9 straight games. Imagine 81 home runs in 9 games. That
would be really cool. That would be really cool. But the dude has absolutely been mashing. One of the home runs went 516 feet, I believe, over the scoreboard, which is very polite because it's a new scoreboard. So
it's true. He didn't want to damage it. Listen, we've poo-pooed home run distances a lot on this show just because the balls and the bats and the whatever. Cags, not only do I 100% believe that he hit this ball 514 or 516, yeah, he's the guy that can and will do that. And that is what makes him very special. He scored a run in, I think, 15 of his last 16 games. While the streak was broken the final game against Vandy, he's something else, man. He's and obviously the pitching.
Yeah,
he's also doing that. He's still doing that. I don't know how he has the energy to hit a ball 500 feet, but
I really don't. I think he just likes spinning. Like it seems like, hey, I'm a really good rotator. I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah.
No, I believe it, man. It's 9 games with a home run in a row, tying a record.
Right.
It's absurd.
I mean,
completely absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Now, every time I watch him swing, I'm just like, wow, how does that bat stay together? Because if that bat broke, that would be a travesty. But that's not what the smart people over at Baseball Barbecue thought, because Baseball Barbecue started when a broken grill fork and a cracked bat came together to make the perfect grill tool. Now Baseball Barbecue makes patented bat handle barbecue tools and cutting boards that are licensed for the best teams in college baseball. Fun and functional, Baseball Barbecue products are perfect for casual fans and serious grillers alike, and a great way to out-tailgate your rivals. I just realized I was holding that too low. Visit baseballbarbecue.com/D1Baseball to find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fan in your life. Thanks, Baseball Barbecue. There you go. There's another one.
Thank you, Baseball Barbecue. It is now time to wrap up this show with our players and pitchers of the week. Steve, why don't you start us off with the player of the week?
I'm going to go with Christian Moore because, as we had discussed, he straight up just went right past Blake Burke and took the career home run record at Tennessee. So regardless of anything else that happens throughout the week, that's going to get you love from Steve. So I'm going with Christian Moore. And of course, it was in a big series win against Kentucky. So you can never ask for much, or you really can't ask for much more than 3 home runs in the Sunday game.
And I'm going to go with, what's better than the 3 home runs in the Sunday game?
Oh, no.
3 home runs in a Friday game, which is what Malcolm Moore did against Oregon for Stanford. Malcolm Moore, one of my favorite players in D1 baseball. Now, listen, it has not been the year that the Stanford Cardinals have wanted. And if you want to pull up Malcolm Moore and be like, oh, he's hitting 242 and Stanford stinks, you're a fool, because this guy is one of the best players in college baseball. not only has his OBP gone up like 40 points compared to last year, he is still smashing the baseball. He is a fantastic catcher. And remember, he's only a sophomore. I know he's draft eligible this year, and he's going to be a first-round pick for sure, and he deserves to be. If he's not, it's a joke. But this was a guy who was doing it as a freshman last year for the team that we saw in Omaha. And now, even though I don't think Stanford will be returning to Omaha, I do think that Malcolm Moore has an incredibly bright future. And regardless of his batting average, I think he is just really, really, really talented. And it was cool to see him have kind of his own big weekend he just had in a series win over Oregon.
Yeah, and Malcolm Moore, I feel so bad for the kid because in like third grade, you're on the West Coast, you're living your life, everything's fine, being named Malcolm Moore. And then this song about going to the thrift shop comes out and has to have really squandered things that, just not ruin things, but just the jokes. Every day it has to, and I'm sure he's hit with a new one. And I feel for the kid. So it's really fun seeing him make a name for himself as Malcolm Moore, who mashes baseballs. And I think that needs to be appreciated more.
I can't tell you the degree to which I enjoy Malcolm Moore more than the guy that sounds like that.
Yeah, me too. I'm
Steve,
with you.
Who's your pitcher of the week?
Pitcher of the week, I'm going Charlie Bielenson from Duke. He had 2 saves in 1 week. He had 3 appearances where across 6.2 innings pitched, I believe he struck out 10 batters while only surrendering 3 walks and 1 hit. He had a 4-inning save against Virginia Tech on the Friday game, and then came in for 1 inning and shut the door on the Sunday game as well, where he struck out 2 batters. So he's someone I've really been impressed with. He came to Duke from Brown. So yeah. I love seeing the Ivy League to Duke University pipeline. I feel like that's really good one for schools because it's like, oh, look, smart people come here. Good thing. But also down the line, it's like, hey, we're talking to our alumni. Oh, they're all rocket scientists and doctors and Ivy League guys. Smart.
Here's what I love about Charlie Bielenson, who, of course, no one loves him more than Aaron Fitt, so I can't possibly usurp that.
Who could?
He was untouchable for the first month. And then in back-to-back outings, he got blasted to the moon, right? He gives up a walk-off. He gets smashed against Clemson. He gives up a walk-off to NC State. 4 runs in back-to-back outings. Gave up a run against Virginia. And then since then, it was like it never happened. Now he's back to being completely untouchable. He got his 2 catastrophes out of the way in back-to-back outings, and now he's back to being completely unhittable. And is why Duke is still one of the best teams in the country. So I just love the resilience there, and I love that he was like, you know what, it can happen. And now we keep moving forward as one of the best relievers in college baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about a guy who's ready just about every day. I mean, you look at his sheet; it looks like his stat sheet where they do it, where it's sorted by game. It looks like a CVS receipt. That's not normal. If you're a relief pitcher, that is insane. My elbow is sore looking at it. I am thinking of you, Charlie Bielenson.
I totally agree. He is spectacular. I am also going to go with a reliever.
All right.
Now, this is a name you've probably seen, Steve. I don't think we've talked about him on the show yet. Now, I know he came up on another recent D1 baseball podcast. It's a right-handed pitcher for the Ragin' Cajuns. So I know they lost their series this weekend at Coastal. However, they did win the middle game. And the reason they won the middle game is because of the services of right-handed pitcher L.P. Langevin. Yes, Langevin is how it is pronounced. Louis Philippe from Quebec, of course. Langevin. And why am I talking about him? Why is he my pitcher of the week? Because this dude threw 5 perfect innings with 10 strikeouts in relief to shut down Coastal and get that win in that second game. I believe it was the longest, or maybe second longest outing that he's had this year. He's also just a spectacular kind of bulk, long, multi-inning reliever, and just a special fastball that really plays at the top of the zone. And that is 5 perfect innings at Coastal in relief is wild. That is a wild showing, and he's been outstanding this season. 74 strikeouts in 42 innings, and he's my pitcher of the week, LP Langevin.
That is not easily done. I will say I did recognize his name, but not from Louisiana Lafayette, but from the fact that he was on the 2023 2023 Wabash Valley Community College, because that is a team that consistently produces some studs. I know next year Jackson Susi from Wabash Valley Community College will be going to, I believe, South Carolina. Yes, he is a Gamecock. But he's from Cambridge, Ontario. So I don't know like how the pipeline works there. I know there's another kid by the name of Aiden Deacons who went there. He's now on Indiana State. He played.
So they are a powerhouse. They are a JUCO powerhouse. That is correct.
They're good. They're good. I don't know how you just get all these Canadians or how you find them, but sign me up, because I have played with some guy. Every person I have played with from Canada has been just downright despicable at baseball. I think if you take a couple of Canadians and you put them in Florida, they are going to be the best baseball players to ever exist. Maybe it's like the hockey hand-eye coordination skills or whatever it is, but I feel like you cannot be a Canadian baseball player and not hit 300 at the college level. It's like just from everyone I played with from there, did it.
Very, very good players from up north, and it was very cool. Very cool to see. Very cool to see. So LP, shouts out to you. I also love that, like, with a name like that, with the pronunciation, like he's like, I ain't messing with Louis Philippe. Like,
nope. I'm
gonna at least short. I mean, maybe that was a decision by his junior college teammates to call him LP. Would love to know more, but Langevin. There you go. All right, Steve, we did it. We did a podcast. I'm so proud of you.
You did.
So proud of me. Good luck to you at your next visit to the dentist. We'll be back next week. Where are you going anywhere this weekend?
So this weekend we will be stopping by Coastal Carolina University to watch them play Troy, because it's right there. And one of my good friends from the University of Virginia is Joe Bielkowski, who Bielkowski, I don't know why I said it like that. It's because I haven't said it in a while. I've only typed it. And I really think about how to pronounce things or spell things. But I'm excited to see Joe Bielkowski and the Troy Trojans up here. But yeah, we did it. We did a podcast. It was a very fun one. We've covered a lot of bases, traveled many places, and a lot more mayonnaise this week than will be in future weeks. So if you're a mayonnaise lover, I'm sorry we can't always have this amount of mayo talk, but if not, don't worry. Don't worry. But thank you all so much.
Steve, I just can't believe we didn't ask if mayonnaise was an instrument. I can't believe we made it 10 minutes into Jackson Mayo discussion without asking that question. A reference that these kids probably don't even know.
I know. It makes me sick.
Anyway, we're done. Good.
As long as you tuned in, that's all that matters. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Schoch Factor Podcast on the D1 Baseball Network under the Sirius XM umbrella of sports podcasting networks. Thank you for tuning in again. Make sure to subscribe to D1 Baseball using code DONKEY for 24% off, and have a great week. Bye.